All right, we're going to call this regular council meeting of order. It's 1 o'clock, and I will ask Councillor Harrison to please give the land acknowledgement.
Thank you, Mayor Barclay. The town of Innisfail acknowledges that we are meeting on Treaty 7 territory, the ancestral and traditional territory of the Blackfoot Confederacy, Kenai, Piikani, Siksik, as well as the Tusina First Nation and Stoney Nakoda First Nation. We acknowledge that this territory is home to the Métis Nation of Alberta, Region 3, within the historical Northwest Métis homeland. We acknowledge that many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit who have lived in and cared for these lands for generations. We are grateful for the traditional knowledge keepers and elders who are still with us today and those who have gone before us. We make this acknowledgement as an act of reconciliation and gratitude to those whose territory we reside on.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Harrison. I'd also like to acknowledge the 2024 Canadian Junior Boys Golfing Championship is beginning this week, starts tomorrow, so there's 156 players and probably 500 to 600 people in our community from across Canada, which is fantastic, so wish everybody a wonderful week. 2.1, are there any additions or deletions to the agenda, CEO Becker?
There's not.
Okay, thank you. I think what we'll do, we'll move the open mic session up under 4.3, under 4.3, right behind the RCMP multi-year financial plan. So if people want to come up, they don't have to sit through the whole meeting if they don't want to. So could I please have someone please make a motion to accept the agenda as amended?
Mayor Barclay, I'll move those.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Dunham. All in favor? Okay, thank you. And we'll move into 3.1, the regular council meeting minutes for July 22nd. Somebody's ready. Could I please have you make a motion to accept those? Councillor Bates?
I'll move those minutes.
Okay, thank you. Any questions about them, changes? No? All in favor? Okay, carried. Thank you. So we'll move into 4.1 with our CAO report from CEO Becker.
So report's there for your consideration, Council. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer your questions.
That was quick. All right. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for CEO Becker? If not, I'll have somebody please make a motion. We accept the report as information.
I'll make that motion to accept the report.
Okay. Thank you, Councillor Heistad. All in favor? Okay. Carried. And we will move into 4.2, the council action control. Maybe we'll just scroll through that, Juanita, and if there's any questions about anything. See none. Could I please have someone make a motion to accept the council action control as information?
I'll make that motion, Mayor Barclay.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Messaros. All in favor? Okay, carried. So I'll invite Staff Sergeant Ian Imey to come forward, please, and will share with us the RCMP multi-year financial plan. Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I had two other things that administration had also asked me just to provide as information to Council too. I'll briefly go over those points before the multi-year financial plan. The first was just a victim services update. So as Council is aware, Innisfail Victim Services ran into some issues this year when we lost our program manager and there was a long-term medical leave. The Victim Services Board decided to shut down operations at that time. With the creation that the Alberta government was creating their own victim services program, which was split into 4 regions, our region falling under the Central Alberta Victim Services not-for-profit. What's happened is that they have hired a new victim services, they're calling them navigators for Innisfail, and she is going to be starting with us April 19th with just getting the office ready and getting up to date with all the policies of the new organization, and we'll begin providing victim services to the community August 26th. So I believe that she is, if not the first, one of the first people hired for the new program. So she comes to us from Didsbury VSU with a ton of experience. So
August 19th, correct?
August 19th. August 19th, yeah. Did I say July?
April. But
April.
Started with an 8.
Way off. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Soon, not later. So August 19th, she'll be starting with us. The other thing that I was asked to present, I don't know if the CSI report was available to put up there. So I was asked just to present on crime severity stats that were released late July. It's not in that one. I can just talk about it, that's fine. So Innisfail saw a crime severity index in 2017 was at 158, so that was at a 10-year high. Every year since then, there's been fairly significant decreases, including this last year, the crime severity was set at 82.4, so it was a 10% reduction compared to the year previous. The Alberta average is 103, so we're about 20% lower than the provincial average. And last year, the national CSI increased by 2%, even though ours decreased by 10%. So, pending any questions, that's just for information. Multi-year financial plan. So as council is aware, the RCMP began doing multi-year financial planning a few years ago with municipal partners, just to make sure that everybody had a clear understanding of forecasting and planning for budgeting purposes. So the multi-year financial plan is for an approval in principle, and it's not a commitment on behalf of the town towards anything. And this is a living document, obviously, that gets updated and changed throughout the years. The document itself is quite lengthy, and council does have a copy of it, so I was just going to highlight a few of the areas. The first area is just talking about the operational priorities from the detachment, which were approved and set by council earlier this year. Authorized strength for the detachment is currently set at 10 municipal RCMP members with 3 civilian staff, and there's no projected increases in manpower at this time in the financial plan. Divisionally, the RCMP does have increases in positions as related to finance, asset managers, and access to information and privacy coordinators, which that does have a small trickle-down cost to the municipal partners, including to Innisfail. The RCMP is looking at increasing the cadet recruitment allowance. So currently when people join the RCMP and are going through RCMP cadet training, they are paid, but they're paid significantly below minimum wage. So the RCMP is looking at increasing that wage to try to bolster recruitment efforts for regular members. The multi-year financial plan also reflects the new collective bargaining agreement that was signed with the RCMP this year. It also has information about some equipment modernization items, including ballistic shields, breaching tools, hard body armor, pistol modernization, some of which have already been purchased by the detachment in the last fiscal year, so not all of those costs are going to be increased costs for this year. The other noticeable increase is that the RCMP is rolling out body-worn cameras for all frontline officers. Original estimates were at $3,000 per member for equipment and for training, but that number has now been cut in half. I believe it's right around $1,500 now. So the information that's actually in that report you have is a little bit outdated as far as the cost. So the most important part to council, I would imagine, would be the financial portion. So last year, quarterly invoices were set at $440,000, which the detachment actually came in under budget by 7% last year, which was a savings of $115,000 to the town. The new quarterly estimates with the increases that I spoke about has the quarterly estimate set at $470,000 per quarter, which is an increase of approximately 7%. Pending any other questions that council may have, that's the information that I have to provide.
Right, thank you, Staff Sergeant Imey. Councillor Harrison.
Thank you, Mayor Barclay, through to the Staff Sergeant. Did you send any officers to Jasper to help out with their issue they had on fires?
We haven't had anybody go to Jasper specifically. We have had people deployed throughout the summer off and on for the fires. Recently, I had one of my members was down at the Water Valley fire that I believe has just been extinguished last week. So he was down there for a week. Early in the year, we had a member that was up north. I can't remember exactly where he went, but up north somewhere. So far this year, I believe we've only had 3 people posted to fires for about a week each.
And supplementary, who pays for that?
So when somebody is sent to, so if someone's sent away to the fires, the costs of their housing, overtime, all that extra pay is paid for by the province. If one of our municipal officers, which hasn't happened yet, were to be sent away and I have to backfill that position in Innisfail, then some of that cost does come down to the town. So far, the way that it's done is that only provincially funded positions are sent to the fires unless Article 9 of the policing contract has been enacted, which was enacted last week. But since that, there hasn't been any requests from our office to send anybody.
Thank you.
And so just under Article 9, it allows the province to take up to 10% of any municipal police officers to assist with an emergency.
Anybody else have any questions? I was wondering, oh, sorry, Councillor Wing.
Thank you, Mayor Barclay, and just through to our speaker. Can you remind me, because I know I've asked you this question before, but when we start talking about the statistics relative to crime severity indexes, is that methodology consistent across the country and across other police forces, or that is just something that's RCMP related?
No, it's actually got nothing to do with the RCMP. It's all Stats Canada. And so what they do, and I've actually just recently learned how they do this. So what they've got is they've got a scoring mechanism for every crime. So every crime is worth a certain amount of points is a bad way of saying it, but we'll say points. With homicide being at the top, being at like 7,000, whereas a fraud being like 40 points. And what I recently learned is the way they assign the points is based on average sentencing for somebody who's convicted of that crime, right? So homicides, people are obviously sentenced for a very long time, 25 years to life, whereas a fraud, often people aren't getting as much as they should be. They're not going to jail for very long. And so that's how they assign the point value. And then so they look at all the files that we had of those certain crime types and essentially assign a numerical value to it. And so it's all across the country with every police force, and it's separate from every police force. We just get told the numbers. We don't have any input into how they do it.
Staff Sergeant Imy, do you have time to maybe just go over the crime stats a little bit and
The
crime severity index?
from the crime severity index? What were you specifically looking for, Mayor, just so I can make sure?
I think just the chart, like the top
Oh,
10 contributors.
The top 10 contributors? Yeah, so the top 10 contributors for CSI for us here, and this is for municipally for the town itself, fraud being the number one at 14%, break and enter, theft under, possession stolen goods, assault, sexual offenses, drug trafficking, mischief, robbery, and then criminal code traffic makes up the rest of it. So those combined make up 77% of all of the crime severity index. What's definitely assisted us with crime severity being lower is the fact that we haven't seen any homicides, knock on wood, for a while. Because something like that for a small town can really throw the numbers out of whack fairly easily because of the high point value that's assigned to each one of those offenses. Yeah. So the top three decreases for us was break and enters, mischief to property, and theft of motor vehicles over the last year. So there's been a significant reduction compared to the previous year, which has definitely helped drop down the CSI. And then the two things that have helped prop it up is robberies and other sexual offenses.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions? If not, I would just ask for somebody to please accept the report as information and that we ask for the chief elected official to sign off on the Innisfil Municipal Detachment Multi-Year Plan.
I move that council recommend that the chief elected official sign off on the Innisfil Municipal Detachment Multi-Year Financial Plan.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Harrison. All in favor? All right, carried.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks for coming. Okay, so we'll move the open mic session up to now, just because we have other things to get to in the meeting. So if anybody, there's a lot of people here today, if anybody wants to come forward and speak into the microphone, if you want to have something to address with council, we ask you to come up, and you need to turn the microphone on because all our meetings are recorded, and state your name and your address, please. Come on up. There we go. Okay, perfect.
Hi, everyone. I figure I'll go first because I think there's going to be a few people talking today. My name's Angela Shuchuk, and myself and my husband, Don, we reside at 4505 60th Avenue. The reason I'm here today is I just wanted to share with council and the town that I will be starting a suicide loss support group here in the town in the fall. I don't have an exact date yet. We lost our son Alex. He was a week shy of his 23rd birthday in January 2023. He was working in Winnipeg as a mechanical engineering tech. And fortunately, we had tremendous support through the Outreach Center in Red Deer. And even though we did professional counseling and all sorts of things like that through the medical system, it was the support groups that actually were the biggest aid to us. And I know that we don't have anything like this in Innisfail right now, so it had really been on my heart that I wanted to do this when I was in a place that I could. So I've taken traumatic loss facilitator training through the BC Bereavement Helpline, as well as mental health first aid. Some of the town folks actually were there that day that I was taking that course in Red Deer, so there were some friendly faces there, which was great. But anyway, the other thing I also wanted to add was that I'm hoping to get a space to be able to do this in. I was so happy to pay for my own training and everything and volunteer my time, but I'm hoping I can get a space, whether that's through one of the businesses or the town or something. So that'll be my next step, to try and provide a safe space that can provide that to members. And also the Outreach Center in Red Deer is, I'm so thrilled that they are kind of parenting over me on this, that because this is, to be clear, I'm not a professional, I'm an accountant in my day job. So this is what a peer-led support group, and it is specific to suicide loss. So yeah, so I just wanted to introduce myself, let you know who I am, and my husband, he's general manager out at Carefree. So we've been in the community since 2010, and we were away for about 5 years, but moved back after Alex passed away, just to be part of this community. We love the town, and so yeah, you know, if anybody knows of anybody who could use this, it's, yeah, like I say, it was wonderful for us. So I'm hoping to get things going in the 3rd week of September. And as I say, it will be overseen by the Outreach Center in Red Deer, particularly Dawn Atkins, and she's their grief and recovery specialist, as well as she teaches suicide prevention and education as well. So yeah, so that's it. So hopefully that meets with your support, and I look forward to interacting with you all down the road, and yeah, providing this to our community and then some down the road as well.
No, thank
Yeah.
you for so much, Angela, and our deepest condolences to you
Thank
and
you.
your family. And you may want to connect, I'm taking a leap here, but maybe connect with Megan Jenkins, our Director of Community Services.
Perfect, thank
Because
you.
Megan oversees FCSS and would also be able to connect you to other organizations, maybe somebody like McMahon, Family Resource Network, et cetera. So,
Yeah,
and,
okay.
you know, maybe some of those organizations may even have space too.
Yeah, and I've reached out with, I have a good friend who's with McMahon,
Okay.
and I actually, when I started this process, I did touch base with our own doctor's office. I think it's Wolf Creek Medical.
Yes.
Yeah, at Innisfail Medical, and Innisfail Addictions and Mental Health, and they were all very supportive and said, just let us know when you're, when you have something going. So anyway, so, you know, things will be coming on that, and I'll figure out how to circulate the word on that, but I thought this was the best place to kind of start the word. I would get that out there, so.
For sure. Thank you so
Yeah.
much, and for offering that to the community.
Yeah, thank you.
That's significant, so. okay,
Perfect, thanks
thank
for
you.
your support.
No, you're welcome. Thank you. Do you have a, Director Jenkins, do you have a card or anything that you could share at some point in time? But yeah, whenever. Okay, is there anybody else that would like to come forward? Okay, just come on up.
So do I stand or sit?
You can do whatever
Okay.
makes you feel most comfortable.
I think I'd like to sit
Okay.
because otherwise I might fall over.
Okay, and then just state your name and address, please.
What's that?
Just state your name and
Yep.
address, please.
Okay, my name is Shelley Hanna. My address is 4601 46 A Street, Crescent. I own the home with my mom, my elderly mom, and I saw the information that came out on Thursday, I think, regarding Deep Sky Labs and the world's first carbon removal center. So what I'd like, please forgive me, I've never done this before and I'm nervous.
Take your time, it's okay.
Okay, so this is a removal of CO2, which is carbon dioxide, my understanding is. And carbon dioxide plays several essential roles in the Earth's atmosphere and in supporting all forms of life, such as photosynthesis with plants, algae, and some bacteria. They use all this in photosynthesis and produce glucose, a form of sugar, and oxygen. Without CO2, plants wouldn't be able to produce the oxygen we breathe or food we eat. Now, I just have a few questions. So you've already approved the plant, right? Yeah. What is it exactly? What is the process? And what are the safety concerns and environmental impacts? Has the environmental issues already been approved? And if so, by whom and when? I would like to see, there should be public documentation on that. Is it possible to get a copy of that? And that's basically my questions.
Okay, thank you. Can I defer to CEO Becker? Because the administration actually deals with approving the development permit and stuff, and some of it's not even in our jurisdiction, to be honest with you, but I'll let.
So I can go through and maybe answer some of your questions, but
Okay.
the process, what happens, municipalities in Alberta will get a notification of a company or companies looking for a place to invest or to develop. So the town of Innisfil received notification from a government department saying this company is looking for this, and this. So they're looking for land. So the town submitted, we have land and we have water, sewer, all the part of the boxes that are ticked. So that puts us in the queue to the next step. So we became top 8 and top 3. We engaged with Deep Sky. They liked the workings of the community. Ultimately, they picked Innisfil as a development. So we went into negotiation onto council to secure land, which is in industrial subdivision, and that's really where they're at. They've submitted papers for a development. So we're going through a process right now for development permits. So basically, our role as a municipal government is basically providing through our land use bylaw. So we can only regulate so much. So we have land available, and our land use bylaw provides the ability to people to do business here, just like every other municipality. We do not get into environmental and all those other regulatory pieces. Those are other agencies or other forms of government. As a development progresses, there's deferrals. So the government, or this business would have to get other permissions from other places. We do not screen, are required to screen that level of technical components of their development.
So could anybody come and lease land from you folks and do whatever they want?
In a certain extent, as long as it aligns with the Municipal Government Act and the land use bylaw. So in this case, this was a permitted use in a new subdivision. Sometimes there's discretionary development. That goes through more of a regulatory process through the Municipal Planning Commission. In this case, this development meets the reason for the subdivision, and it's considered a permitted use.
Okay, well, so you know what CO2 is and how important it is to our lives and plants and all living beings, including all you folks. Have you looked into the safety aspects, the environmental impacts, the safety concerns to all living beings? Like, what exactly is this? How do they do it? And what is the procedure for moving it? They say in their documentation that they're moving it to Edmonton. They're not even storing it here.
Right. So
It's just, there's so many unanswered questions.
it's really early in the game, if I may, Mayor Barclay. So as you would have read through that material, you would have referenced, there's 10 pieces of technology that they've procured, that they're testing. This is a test site. What is the impacts from these technologies?
So they're still doing the impacts, the process and the safety data regarding.
Absolutely. That's the nature of their development. Is the idea is to test the products, technology, to see if it's applicable to a bigger scale up somewhere, not
Okay,
here.
so do we know the safety to the human beings in this town? That's what I'm wondering. It's safety concerns, right?
Yeah.
Environmental impact. How big of an area do they take the CO2 out of? How is it going to affect our breathing? How is it going to affect the plants and the animals? Like,
Yeah, I think the intent of the development is to take a smaller scale understanding of what are those impacts. And again, it's early for me too. Just, we know they would like to do business in Innisfail. For what I noticed in their press release is that they're hoping to take 3,000 ton of carbon
Yep.
out of the air, which is equivalent to about 650 vehicles over a course of a year.
what about mileage? Like square, I don't know what that means. Like, can you reference
It's
a square-
It's through the air.
I know,
They have
but how many miles does it
It's a
affect?
5-acre parcel that they've secured.
How much carbon do they take out, and how far
3,000
does it reach? in
3,000
effect?
ton per year.
Yeah, but I don't know what that means.
Exactly.
What does that mean?
Yeah.
You don't know either?
There's a lot I need to learn too.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay, fair enough, fair enough. So it's been approved and yeah.
Okay, I'm just going to ask everybody, we're going to either have a respectful dialogue today or we won't have one at all. So we're more than happy to listen to you, but we don't need a bunch of chattering out in the gallery being disrespectful to people. And we don't have all the technical information. That is not our job. They will go to other levels of government, such as the Alberta government. Likely the Alberta Energy Regulator is who regulates and approves carbon capture, and this isn't even carbon capture, it's direct air capture, and the carbon is not being stored here.
Yeah.
So if it was determined by provincial government, for example, that, and I know they've already had discussions with the government that this was dangerous, it wouldn't be here. And I would also advise people, if you want to learn more, I know that the CEO was on QR 770 this morning. There's a podcast that's available now on Apple where they were speaking with the morning show people, and you can glean some information from that. And also, you know, you could go to their website and also Phil DeLuna's website, who is the chief scientist for Deep Sky, and there's a lot of information on his website around direct air carbon capture, as well as papers that he's published. But we hear your concerns and we understand them, but, you know, carbon has been stored in this province for probably 50 years.
That still doesn't answer my safety aspects and concerns for all human and living beings in the area. And they want to be up and running by the end of the year, and they haven't even broke earth yet, as far as I know.
Yeah, I think what CEO Becker is saying, that the carbon they're removing, because it's experimental, is so minimal. It's only 3,000 tons per year, which is a tiny, tiny fraction of.
Okay, that's what
like
I'm trying to figure
yeah.
out on visuals, so I don't know.
I
Is
don't
that
either.
3 square miles?
We wouldn't know either, to be
Yeah,
honest with
okay.
you. I think it just comes from the 5-acre site, so it will be drawn in from the 5-acre site that they're on.
So they have a big vacuum? Do they just suck it down, or
Well,
how does that work? I don't know.
Well, yeah, they have equipment. Brings it in and goes through a process and removes the carbon and yeah.
So it's all basically new to all of us. We don't really, nobody really knows for sure, basically.
Well, they do. Deep Sky does.
So they say. Okay, well, thank you.
You're welcome. No, thanks. Did you have a question?
No,
Yeah,
may I
okay.
just say something, Mayor Barclay? This technology exists in Europe, and then there's a big facility in Iceland. This isn't like this is new. They've gone out and chosen technologies that they've discussed with businesses across the world, and they're bringing those here to see if they will work in our environment. The thing we need to remember is think of the large forest fire that was up in Jasper and how we had smoke down here from that. It's not like they're going to be sucking all the CO2 out of a bubble over Innisfail. The atmosphere moves. The parts per million of carbon is at the highest levels ever. Over the last 20 years, we're at like 490 million parts per million, as opposed to the 1900s where it was around 200 million parts per million. So all these hydrocarbons that we're burning are there. So there's an abundance of it, and our environment as it is does not have the capability to remove it all. So this is to augment this, and this is just a testing facility. This isn't like a huge, massive commercial facility. They're just smaller units that they're coming and going to draw.
Hi, Dale. And the rest of the council. Thanks for holding this meeting today. My name is Vicki Bayford. I live at 4932 46th Street. Just been a resident of Innisfail for just a little over 2 years now and moved here, and I really love this town. But I would like to relay a lot of the concerns, and I get it, because a lot of people don't understand the technology. I've worked in oil and gas for over 25 years. I work in the regulatory sector for the oil and gas companies, so I am very much aware of what goes on, like for approval processes, things like that. I've looked into the direct air capture, and yes, it is carbon capture, just we're moving it. So we are capturing the carbon here, and then we're moving it to Sturgeon or wherever it's going. But I would like to say that there are some concerns, like from my aspect, yes, this is a small plant. Is it in this small scale, is it going to affect us on a safety level at this point? No, because it's a test site, it's very small. But I think the one thing that we're not thinking about is at a bigger scale, like you cannot, we already live, and we know this as Canadians, we already live in a carbon basin. We are, like our nature, the nature that we have around us is already sucking most of the carbon out of the air. We don't need to have these extra technologies to help us do something that nature naturally does. So my concern with it is more to is being in regulatory. I know what it takes when I have to go and apply for a permit for a pipeline or a well license or anything like that. There's a notification that goes out. We have this Directive 56, and these notifications have to go out. And this is up until last week. This is the first I've heard about this particular project. And that's concerning to me, because if it is the AER, is it the AER that is, I guess, the head of this project for giving the actual approvals for this facility? Who is the actual approver of the project?
So are you asking?
Yeah, I'm just asking council in general, who, like, what process, what approval process is taking place? I get that you guys are just leasing the land out as a council, but who is the overriding? Is it AUC? Is it AER? Is it the provincial government as a separate agency? And what agency is that? Because it's funny that we can't drill a well or build a pipeline or build an electricity facility or do anything in this province. And I know how highly regulated we are, believe me. We can't usually do anything without a whole bunch of notifications, letting people know, giving people information so they actually understand the technology, and giving them the chance to say, no, we don't want this, or yes, we do, right? So where are these approvals coming from, and why haven't we as a town had a say in whether or not we want to object to these proposals?
CEO Becker?
I can answer. Similar to your experience, so when we get a permit come in, we have a deferral agency listing that gets sent out for feedback. So a general development would go to government agencies, Alberta Environments, or Alberta Transportation is usually a big one, Forest ATCO, all those are on our list. For permitted use, we do not provide notification. What we will do with Deep Sky likely, and we'll meet with them shortly.
But where's Deep Sky getting their permit to build this facility? That's what I'm asking.
So anything through feds province would come through the province, definitely.
Is it the AER though? Is it the AUC? Like which department?
Yes, it is. Yeah,
Yes, which one?
those ones. AER for sure.
It is an AER project?
Yeah.
So I guess we don't know then if the AER actually has a different approval process for facilities like this then? Because it's definitely not like a well license or anything, because everyone in this town, because we would have been within a certain vicinity, would have gotten some type of notification.
Yeah, I think as this advances, Deep Sky, we'll be asking them to do some public engagements, which we do with other projects. And they can outline what they receive back from AER. If AER has a no, we would know by that, on that. Right now, we have not heard from government. We've heard unofficially from government, very supportive of the project. But it'll
They would be.
Yeah, it meets their policy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So anything comes our way, we defer it, but there's an interaction, but it's still early within our
So could we
process.
ask you guys to let us know, I guess, as residents in Innisfail, what the procedure would be and who we would write letters to if we want to try to oppose or support this project.
I think you're speaking to so council does own land, so this has advanced, that project will occur.
Right, but you guys aren't going to be the ones permitting it. So this is my problem, is you guys might be able to lease the land, and you could take the lease away possibly to if we are opposed to this and you guys want to support. If there was a majority of residents that oppose this project, you guys could, I guess, as council, not rent this land or lease this land out to this project. But what I'm asking is, with the permit itself, if you guys are going to go ahead and lease this land and we want to oppose this project, or at least put our thoughts forward to doing this, who are we responding to? Like, to who's permitting this project?
So we do have a development permit at our stage. If you're looking at the bigger policy, that's the provincial government, likely the federal too. And you know who those people are. You just mentioned some of those agencies.
Well, but this is the funny thing. Like, I work in regulatory, and with these new units, I mean, I haven't seen any new regulatory, like I get a bulletin like every week from the AER when there's new things that are coming out, and new rules and new legislation that the AER is in charge of. I get a list of it, and I haven't really seen anything. I mean, there's been a new directive on carbon sequestration, but it has nothing to do with building facilities for it. There's a lot of regulations that I've seen that have been updated for, taking an existing facility, for example, for actually putting the carbon back in the earth, like for a lot of those projects. But this particular kind of project is completely different than, them taking an existing facility and then putting the CO2 back into the well bores. And pumping that down. So, like I said, I'm just kind of curious, because I haven't seen anything, and I work with the AER, with the AER. So I'm just kind of curious, because I haven't seen anything, and it's kind of like all of a sudden there's just this new project, a new technology, and usually the AER is pretty current on getting those types of things out. And I get this is possibly the first one in Alberta, maybe in Canada. I know they have these. In the States, I've looked them up because I'm curious and I want to understand how the technology works. And yeah, on a large scale, I'm completely opposed to this, but, and even on a small scale, I don't really want it here because it's just going to lead to more. I mean, we got to use the nature that we have. We have carbon sequestration already. It's in our plants, it's in our life. And I think that going down this, it's a slippery slope kind of moving towards us. Anyway, that's all I have to say, and I'm hoping that we can get a little bit more information on ways that we as Innisfailians, that we can figure out ways that how we can put our thoughts forward to, not only through you guys in this channel, but if we wanted to be able to formally oppose this project, we need a route, and I think we have a right to have a route to be able to do that.
Your Worship.
Sorry, Councillor Bates?
Yeah, I just wanted to comment. I'm old. I have to just look at the top end. I have an engineering background, and I embrace technology. And I think the biggest thing that I've learned here is that this is a small-scale laboratory. It is not a commercial operation, and ultimately, the government of Alberta will be the regulatory operation that decides whether or not anything on a commercial scale can go ahead. And to my knowledge, they've approved the small-scale laboratory. So just convey that.
Thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Mindy Campitelli. I reside at 5132 34th Street, Innisfail, Alberta. And I have a lot of concerns. The word of the day is experimental. And I've heard it from councillors and the mayor. This is experimental. This has a huge impact on every person in and around the town of Innisfail. Every living thing, every breathing thing, every crop, every animal, every human. New and exciting technology, and we are the experiment. The town of Innisfail has agreed to lease the land adjacent to the residential industrial area of our town, and to allow this building to be built in our community, and we haven't been advised of anything regarding it. I have came to my first council meeting in this town, and I have learned an awful lot, and I don't like what I've heard, because I have heard this has been approved, but yet we know nothing about it, the community of Innisfail. I have learned that our council has made decision to approve and move forward with this brand new experimental technology of taking CO2 from our air that we breathe, which is the atmosphere that we live in and we require, and so does every human living possible thing. And we are going to experiment with it? Have we not learned what we have done as human beings in this world when we experiment with Mother Nature? To put CO2 in the caverns of the oil that's being sucked out of our land is a catastrophe waiting to happen. We, as a community, do not have the emergency in place to deal with a catastrophe of this sort, let alone what it will do to every human thing surrounding this town and community. We need to think about this very, very seriously. We need to take this very, very seriously, because I do not want to be an experiment. In '86, in Cameroon, this technology was tried, and the end result is it blew up. Everything, the town, everyone is gone. Poof. By trying this in '86. This is the word of the day, experimental. You've approved this experiment in our community without consulting the people that live here, reside here, work here, raise our children, raise our grandchildren, take care of our seniors, and this is a senior community. What are you doing? Thank you so very much for giving me your time, and I'm glad I have started a dialogue on this.
Good day, wonderful people over here. Our councillor to whom we pay money. I have one question for all of you. Thank you very much. You answer, you know some background to understand what's going on, and you let us know. I'm sorry. If you don't understand my accent, please, you're welcome to interrupt me, and I will repeat it. One of you can let us know if you have some education on a topic what you have been voted for favor. One of you. Does any have a background of school to understand what you are favor for? Please, let us know. Are you done any education on this topic? And directly to you, Mayor. Jen, do you have any education? School education?
Do I have any education?
Practice, yes, in your life?
Have an
What
MBA,
you've been
but
approved
other than that.
right now for this town?
You know, I probably would have very little education for a lot of things we approve, so.
I'm
we approve-
asking directly about this topic, what we are talking right now.
Oh, I've read a lot about it. I've met with Deep Sky. We've had lots of discussions. We've spent the last 3 years.
But answer no, you don't have education.
Okay, no. And I doubt if anybody here does, so carry on. What's your point?
Thank you to answer for everyone else, but does somebody want to say? I know you are head of a house, but here's many people. Do you have any education, sweetheart?
Okay, well, let's,
No.
you know what?
It's you? Do you? Okay, wonderful. Can you give to us a good meeting one day and explain what is a favor for this town to do this project? What is not good, what is good, publicly for all town, not just like we create this little amount people over here, but we want town know. If you have some background, a good education, would you please share with us publicly?
Okay, I think what we'll do is, the people here, you know what you can do?
I very
No.
appreciate you.
No,
You
no,
are
no.
having your opinion, but right now I was talking
No,
directly to your worker
No,
here.
I'm the chair of the meeting, I'm sorry. And we're getting down to track. If you want to try to belittle us, great. But I think what you should do is reach out to CEO Becker and meet with him and his senior leadership team about your concerns, because we could be here for all day. And
Yes, we're going, it's why we are
No.
here, it's why you're working for us.
No, we appreciate you coming, but we're hearing the same over and over and
Well,
over and
you know
over
what?
again.
You
And-
done this before with us. You said, reach it out, talk to them, you know, like, it never moved ahead, not even once.
So
And over
CEO
here, like,
CEO Becker?
here's somebody said, yes, I do have education.
Yeah, no, my staff are not going to respond to your question here. If you'd like to meet
Who
with
is
us,
going to respond
you know,
to us, huh?
my name's Todd. If you got my card, then we
Okay.
can connect another time.
Well,
You know,
I guess
so
I
we're
was
not trying to-
expected this
We're not trying to
answer.
skirt your question, but be happy to
Okay.
meet with you.
Here I am. We have a peace officer, police over here. If we cannot get any answers from our council, we cannot bring this to the public. We cannot organize open conversation on the public meetings to explain to us what's going on. What is our citizen respond? Do we have to go to police and ask to do investigation on the town office? Well, we cannot get answer. I'm sorry. This is going on for 4 years.
So back to the delegates.
We are here. I'm asking
Yeah,
you.
and I'd be
Would
happy
you
to-
please do it?
Yeah, I'd be happy to connect
No,
with you.
I want publicly.
And can you state your name and where you live, please?
I'm from Venezuela, Svetlana Hoffman, and you met me before. And you wasn't really happy
Red
to
Deer
me.
County?
And
Red
I'm
Deer
here
County.
by publicly, I said, how can we do it? Don't need to go again on same road. We've been there. We spoke to you, and you were saying exactly the same. Here we are again with new law, not publicly addressed to the people. You know people is not happy, you know. You basically now created very unpleasant moment for town when you want people get upset by your action because you're not willing to talk to the public. You're not willing to address issues. Somebody, even like counters, say, does these people not happy? Let's have a discussion with people who have education. Maybe we don't know something.
And we will.
I'm happy to hear
Deep
this.
Sky will be coming to the community, and they will engage with the community, and they are the experts.
When?
Well, I don't have an
Please
exact
tell us
date, but-
a day. You are working
There's
for
nothing-
us.
There's nothing set up for a day to engage with them to determine the
Let's
public.
set up right now.
Well, they're not.
We
here.
are willing to do this. That's
will
why
for-
we are here.
Okay.
Give
should
us
we
a
take
day.
recess? Should we take a
I'm not sure,
recess?
Mayor, but, yeah. If there's
What
one-
is the problem?
There's no problem. Once there's a public engagement planned, it'll be promoted. I mean,
Well,
that's how it
let's vote
works.
right now, people here. They will ask you like, yeah. Let's do it. Why do we have to again do it something what is you create fight on the people? You do.
What benefits are created from this? Who's gaining from this?
Yeah.
Like well, we're
Then
not.
you call people, they are not happy, they talk behind. We'll stop gossiping. You are a good person, you proclaim over here. Show me your good deeds for this community.
I said that Deep Sky will engage in the community going forward, and
Then let's make it happen. Today
We
we'll
would-
speak a day. It's so easy.
okay, I think we may take a recess because this is
Well,
going.
thank you for your time.
Okay, we're going to have one more person come up if that's okay. Okay, just come on up. So ridiculous.
Hi, my name is Stacy Beulah, and I am from West Rose, but I have family that live in the community. The reason that I wanted to come down today was just to maybe see kind of the understanding of what the byproduct is going to be of the facility that will be created here. Maybe provide a little bit of information to council, because I do understand that sometimes some of these projects that come forth, you might not know what it is that the long-term plan is for the product that they're creating, or what's happening there. So I just wanted to come and support the community a little bit in terms of asking the questions that we need to ask, because we are concerned. We do know that CO2 is important for life. There's definitely debate going on everywhere, if it's high or low or whatever. But that narrative is being driven by oil and gas companies that are going to profit substantially from creating a monster out of CO2, which CO2 is not a monster. It's actually very valuable, and there's a huge demand for CO2, whether it be for fracking, whether it be for the drinks that we have, and there's a whole new industry that's going to be emerging from the carbon that is captured from carbon capture technology and DAC, which is what you're talking about here today. So a question that I just wanted to ask, and I know this is uncomfortable, but it's, are there any members of the council on here affiliated with any of the boards that are doing graphene development? Anyone that has family members or personally are on a board that is helping with graphene development and exploration? Nothing? Okay. Because we have in the county of Wetaskiwin, there is an individual named David Blades. He is on a board for graphene development, but he also held a position in council to change governance and to secure land to do carbon capture projects, and then move on to another community. He's up in a different community now doing the exact same thing. So these are some of the things that happen that make people like us, like just regular citizens, not necessarily trust in the whole process. And this is why we're having some kind of breakdowns going, because there is significant profit to be made off of graphene. One of the comments that I just wanted to make is that, when an application comes in for a liquor store or a porn movie location, we make sure that it's not by a school, right? And because that's a danger. But this is a different industry. Yes, it's emerging technology, and I recognize you have an engineering background, and there are lots of engineers that are working on all these projects. But it's the same kind of idea. This is a danger to society. And when we ask the questions of like how much CO2 can safely be taken out of the atmosphere without creating a negative impact, is crickets. So we've been asking the Premier about this. We've been asking the Environmental Minister about it, Rick McIver. We've been trying to get some questions to find out if there is an answer. And we haven't got that answer of how that gauge is and how they know that there's not going to be any impact to any species. There is for the province, it's called SARA, the Species at Risk Act, which is actively being used for different species, but we're a species. And this potentially puts us at risk. And so this is something that I think every citizen needs to kind of take into consideration when we're talking about the carbon capture. It is being captured, it has been captured in Fort Saskatchewan for a very, very long time. You could receive education about it at the TELUS World Science for a very long time. Shell, started that project up there. So the challenge with handling carbon is moving it. It is a substance which can cause great challenges when you're moving it and you're transporting it. So that's what's going to be happening here is they're transporting it here. But the byproduct that comes from carbon capture is a whole new industry that oil and gas is super excited about, and this is called graphene. And graphene, we've just gone through a pandemic and there's all the conspiracy theories about it going into the injections, into the different vaccines and whatnot, and trying to figure out what that's all about. It's real. So it is very real. You can research a bunch of companies that are actually using graphene, and they are putting it into human vaccinations. They're putting it into animal vaccinations. It is a phenomenal product that is being used in things like concrete to see if it can be extremely strong, because the molecular structure of it is the hexagon shape of it, of the molecule, actually makes it very, very strong. So you can use it for a variety of materials, metal, concrete. Sure, let's put it in there. Let's get some free energy going on, because it continually is conductive, that you can't shut the energy down of it. But this is what the byproduct is. So they're going to be transporting it here, and they're going to be creating this whole new market that is called graphene. And that you can research it. There's projects through Carbon Nova at the University of Calgary, which citizens have paid for this, because it's all grant money that's going into it. But this is where they're taking us with this. And graphene will go in soil, it's going into our air, it is going into us, it is going into our animals, it is going into our food. And regardless of whatever conspiracy is out there and where we stand with all the different political crap that's being thrown at us these days, this is something I feel like we should all be aligning on, because there is crazy capability that comes with using this technology, and it's a technology. So I really want you to research it. I want you to understand what's coming. It is something that I am very worried about, and I think species at risk is something that we need to take a look at. And I know small scale, they're not taking, they're not going to have a whole bunch here, but as soon as they prove that they can scale it up, because there's massive demand for it, they will scale it up. So you're giving them that foot in the door to do that research. And yes, Dale, I understand that they are doing it over the pond in Iceland, and that's mostly like the carbon sequestration piece of it. But the graphene element, electricity, that's the other thing that you need to be concerned about for your citizens. It's hugely energy intensive to split the molecules from the CO2 to create the graphene. The energy here, you're going to impact your grid substantially if that's some of the activity that's going to be happening. So I wanted to share some knowledge, some information, some research that I've done, just to maybe plant that seed to do some further research and not share it on stupid social media that people don't know if, whatever, it's true or if there's anything warranted. So thank you for the time. I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming and for your thoughtful dialogue. Okay, so we are going to move on with our meeting, but by all means, I don't know if we want to take a 5-minute. We're actually going to move on with the meeting because I think everything's kind of the same, and I think.
It's not the same, okay? I'm from Castor, a small town. It's the same thing. These people here pay your salary. And then when you don't want to answer questions, I'm just going to shut it down.
No.
You have questions of it. They pay your salary. You guys already committed to putting this test facility here without asking these people. You put a meeting on at 1 in the afternoon. Most people are working. Are you afraid to answer questions from your citizens of your town?
Never.
You're supposed to stand up for them and fight for their rights and not put in test facilities here to injure people.
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna.
They can vote you out, remember that.
Yeah, they can. Yep, for sure.
Or they can just right outside there, protest land use bylaws, and it'll shut that shit down. Protest. That's right. And that gentleman at the end couldn't do nothing on a peaceful protest. Just letting you know.
You wouldn't do anything against you, if I may.
Okay, one more. I'm sorry. Come on up. We have a more meeting to get to, and sadly, we also have to be at the golf course for a function in a little bit. And
my name is Ryan Verberg. I'm a resident of Innisfail.
And that is why we held the meeting today at 1 o'clock, because we have the Canadian National Junior Boys Golf Tournament in town today, and we're supposed to be at a function out at the golf course with Golf Canada. So.
My name is Ryan Verberg. I'm a resident of Innisfail, 4908 59th Street. I understand that a few years ago, the development in the industrial area was financed by the taxpayer, put on by the town of Innisfail. Now we're going to lease out a large portion of this to a company. What protection will you offer me as a taxpayer who already had to finance the development of that land, and now we have most of it going to be leased out to one single operator? And my question is about taxes. It's not about the project. What happens if the project fails? What kind of tax burden is left for me?
Okay, well, thank you. We have leased the land, or we've entered into a lease, and we're not expecting them not to pay their property taxes. But I guess anything's at risk. We've had other businesses go out of business, and you know, I can't guarantee that, but we're comfortable with the financial backing that this company has, that they are on solid ground financially to do what they need to do with us. So,
are they backed by the taxpayer?
No. No, they're a private company.
When this becomes Chernobyl, who will be responsible? Yeah. What? Just like wind turbines. They can leave them.
Okay. So again, thank you for coming. By all means, please connect with our CEO, Todd Becker. He's more than happy to meet with a group of you, or
It's just so shameful how you guys will sell your soul to the devil and won't even stand up for the people of this town. And it's not just this town, it's all the towns. You sold your soul to the devil, I'm sorry, and you guys will pay the price.
okay. Okay, we're going to take a 5-minute. I'm going to just have a.
You are disgusting. Should all be fired.
Take a break? Just have a call a recess? Okay, I'm going to call a recess. All in favor?
May I?
What you think to the power? All process was gone from Main Street. Before Christmas. From day when you stepped to this position, you removed all process on downtown. If you guys didn't recognize it was happening from 1st
May I?
How this process, they was taken for purpose from this town. You sleep well at night? And who's getting money? Where's the money going? That's why at the golf course, hope you have a good last meal. You know, what would like to see your action, guys? Who's getting benefits? You know, this country needs the RCMP, well, you're not spending anyways, you know that. Cross. The people, the sovereigns of the land are gonna hold you accountable.
Mayor Barclay, may I say something, please?
Councillor Bates is back, so we'll move on to,
Mayor, may I say something?
okay, just briefly, if you don't mind, and I don't want to be rude, but honestly, we do have
Just
something
one,
to get to.
just one thing I want to ask. If you go to the top of the page on council meeting, please. It reflects a question I have.
Yeah.
My question is, your agenda is the adoption of agenda. Your agenda is 2.2, the adoption of agenda. What is your agenda?
It's the agenda
What
that's
is
sitting
the
in front
town
of
of
you.
Innisfail's agenda?
It's sitting in front of you, the whole agenda.
I'm asking.
And
What
I'm
is
telling
the
you.
adoption of, what agenda are you following?
The agenda that's in
What
front of you.
agenda are you making?
The agenda that's in front of
The
you.
community of Innisfail, Alberta would like to know about the new and exciting technology coming to our town. And we would like full forum dialogue. We would like information. We would like facts. We would like to have a future council meeting with the town of Innisfail people in attendance, and it made public, and you can bring Big Sky Labs too, because we have a lot of questions we'd like to ask them. But you are our town council. So I live in this town for many years. My family is in this town. The people I love are in this town. The community is a beautiful community. I don't want to see it destroyed. I don't want to be destroyed. I don't want to live with disease. I'm not concerned about the technology of what's going in and how it's being done. I'm concerned of what's coming out of the carbon capture building. I come from a town in Manitoba called Gimli. There's a refinery. It's a Crown Whiskey refinery. Half that town is black because of what comes out of the refinery. Half of the town, the trees, everything is black from what comes from that refinery. That's a whiskey refinery. This is a carbon capture refinery. New exciting technology. We shouldn't toy with Mother Nature. We shouldn't take our air away. We shouldn't play with our air. And we shouldn't bring this technology to our town or any other town.
Okay, thank you, Mindy.
You're welcome, and thank
so
you
much. Yeah.
very much for your time.
No, thank you for coming. Okay. All right, we're going to move on to 5.1 on Napoleon Lake land development with Director Jenkins.
Thank you, Mayor Barclay. We're looking today to present the proposed concept for the development of the Napoleon Lake South area, as well as the associated public consultation plan. Pallavi and Gord will be going through an overview presentation of the proposed development, and this essentially marks the sort of initiation of the public information component of the project. So following today, based on the approval of council, we will be moving into a public notification process, as well as providing information on the town's webpage in advance of a September 10th public information night in collaboration with the fall registration information.
Excuse me, we're on, that part of the meeting is over, and we're on to another part. No, we're fine. We're moving forward. Maybe we just need to adjourn the meeting for today. we've told you that Deep Sky will engage with the community in the future, and I said we moved it today to 1 p.m. because we have another function to go to this evening. Otherwise, we're at 3 p.m. every week, and we are not moving to 6. No, no, no.
Regarding this brand new bill.
And I will
I've asked this of council.
and I will repeat my. Okay. Okay.
If maybe you should guys pay. Right now, please, councillor, you work for town of Innisfail. Right now, I have a request. Move meeting for 6 p.m. Please. For public, because we cannot take time off. Because, or maybe you want to pay us, we'll be okay with this. We will go to do
Move to adjournment.
Okay, we're actually going to adjourn the meeting today because this is completely out of control, and it's no, and you can't be respectful. Okay. Can I please have a? Okay. Could I please have a motion to adjourn the meeting for today? Councillor Wing, all in favor? Thank you. All in favor?